Now may I request Dr. Vijay Bhatkar to say a few words, sir.
I wish to share with you my joy today because I think this conclave, as we call it, I'll not say historical event. There are many histories to be made. It's an important milestone in our journey in the canvas of computing, information technology, and also, in a way, the future of our nation. It's an important milestone because I think we are seriously sitting together with the research and development labs like CDAC, and there are many others, with academic institutions like Institute of Science, and many from the industry. It is a fact that we are not engaged or we are not learned to engage industry. We are attempting it, of course, in a serious way in our national missions. Of course, there are great examples in the space programs, in the defense programs, but not, I would say, in electronics and information technology, which is I think, the great shining example of the success of our country. So, in that sense, it's very important. And I must compliment Keshav Nair, really, that when he brought the proposal that there is going to be a conclave where we'll engage or we'll invite industry along with the national mission on supercomputing and the participants in that mission. Since there is some time, I will get back to for me, it's a personal journey, reminiscing. And my memories go back to 87. 30 years back, 3 decades back. And I'm really surprised and amazed that I'm still standing before you, and after 30 years back, in an industry, in a technology which morphs itself in a manner which we never anticipated. This is an industry, if you really look back, the innovators or the inventors cannot anticipate their own impact of their own inventions or innovations. Look at the computer itself. Look at the microprocessor itself. When Tedov and team came out in Intel, came out as the chief or in the pursuit of, I think, creating chips for the calculators. And the microprocessor came in. They did not anticipate that will impact the entire electronics or computing in a manner which we have seen. Look at internet, look at the web. Look at the web. So today, I think we are talking about, in a volatile and dynamic and unpredictable industry like the IT industry or electronics, and a path forward in the field of which is the very cutting edge of things. The great things are like Formula One races and all things like that kind of thing. What is the use of those things? That here we create in this kind of pursuits the cutting edges which become the commodities of the what we see and what we experience every day. And the great example of that is really, and if you are not really seriously examined, it is the supercomputing technologies which were pursued in the particular in the hardware sense, which had great impact that one day that computing power will be sitting in your pocket as a mobile phone. I think somebody needs to study how these developments came and how they got embedded in our mobile phones which we carry on phone. Today, I can recall that the first supercomputer which we tried to make in the gigaflop range, the Param 8000, we tried to make, and similar ones by other institutions. That computing power or the computing power of your smart mobiles, smartphones is their memory therein, the network bandwidths we have seen, and we are talking of 4G and 5Gs. They exceed what we try to develop as supercomputers and networks at that time. Our supercomputing initiative came, as was mentioned, Dr. Saraswat and also Bhalke, and in a denial regime. I think that was the one thing. The technology, I think of course there are many people who are acting, many international community in the sense, or multinational companies in India today, they are there. I'm not reflecting on that. It was a denial regime. You have strategic technology, and every nation will have its competitive edge. And I remember the congressional statements which were made at that time that today, when they possess those, Cray possesses the supercomputing technology and Japan trying to follow it, that it is a technology which US alone possesses, and it can be great competitive edge for US for decades to come together, and it must be protected. And that's a fair position. I will not say that. We wanted a supercomputer for weather forecasting. We are weather forecasting models taken from Europe, reading NCMRWF and IMD. We had models, but we required the supercomputer for running those models to really an agrarian economy where prediction of monsoon is the main critical issue, and where all the farmers still watching when will the rains come, how many rains will come, where will it come, and all that kind of thing. That challenge still remains, and we wanted to establish that capability. Second thing is that Bhalke has said that IISc was celebrating, our great institution was to celebrate the Golden Jubilee. Indian Institute of Science was, and what would be the greatest gift to Indian Institute of Science? For their research advancement, academic advancement, and everyone came, Professor Siana Rao and everybody came who was opposite, chairing the SAC to PM, so on, that the greatest gift will be a supercomputer to be established, which was later became ACRC, so on. These two things, and we wanted that, and of course, when we asked for it, the US denied it in a certain sense. They delayed it, denied it, never expressed it. They will give it to an op, this kind of things. And we placed the orders. And at that time, Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister, and of course, there was a high technology accord to be signed between the US and India. And of course, the agenda, one of the agendas which put forward was, most important agenda put forward at that, getting a supercomputing from this one, from Mr. Reagan, who was the president at that time. And of course, and you know what happened during that meeting. And it was like a grace agreed to, because we will give a next last generation some system, but there will be things for excess which will be very humiliating. I think what was humiliating words were said. And Rajiv Gandhi, at that time, the Prime Minister, young Prime Minister, came back, and he challenged SAC to PM. He challenged the scientists, and that why can't we develop And there were great examples before us. The great examples of atomic energy, what Dr. Bhabha did, even before independence started proposing that kind of thing, and of course, of Mr. Vikram Sarabhai launching our space program. Why can't we do it for these strategic technologies? And he challenged him. I think our response to the supercomputing initiative was a response to that. Fortunately, there was no way to build Cray like supercomputers. I think the semiconductor technology and the exotic cooling technologies and the easier logic, what we're talking about, there's no way to, I think, in foreseeable future to build that thing. Fortunately, a new, I think what you call disruptive technology thinking came in academia, and that was parallel processing. That came from academics, the researchers, and the parallel processing technology came, and it became clear to us that kind of thing. Yes, if we employ this parallel processing technology in India can do that, we can build supercomputers of future. Cray himself did not believe in this. I must say that Cray, as the father of supercomputers and really the author of supercomputers, he did not believe that. He said the software challenges will be so humongous that we'll never be able to use such systems like that. And we decided, SAC to PM agreed, that parallel processing would be the route for building supercomputers. That was 87. 87 time, 88, CDAC was launched. And I still remember a discussion with Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, Mr. K.R. Narayanan, and Mr. K.P. Nambiar, who took me to Rajiv Gandhi, and he asked me the question that, can we develop supercomputers? Really, can we develop? Are we confident? He said, my answer was, I have not seen one. I've seen there was no internet. I have not seen the web, that I have not. But by sheer intuition or inner confidence, I can say it's one, that we can. Because other answer, anyway, anyone can give that answer, we cannot. Because I have not seen one. And he says how much time that would take. And having worked with the Electronics Commission, I knew that 5 years would be too late, 2 years is infeasible, and I said 3 years. And he said, how much money? I didn't know, because then the costs were not known, not to think. Most of the chips we could not import. At that time, we didn't have foreign exchange. And I said that it would take, I just estimated something like my team, and that it would cost the same amount as we would be spending on buying that Cray XMP machine. Okay, we wanted Cray YMP. At that cost, we could develop this technology, because that was the magic of parallel processing technology, not like that, could do it at that cost. And of course, he smiled, and he said, yes. And Mr. K.R. Narayan was the Minister of Science and Technology, and that project was, I think, approved in. That was the starting point of the supercomputing mission. Before that, I must refer to Rodam Narasimhan's initiative in flow solvers. There was time like he was thinking, he was very innovative, and still somebody says that if we want to bring the exascale supercomputing, one man still can be invoked is Rodam, even at this age, this one, and he give him a team, and he can create CFD problems which can challenge even exascale systems. I'm witness to this fact that not only myself, 30 years later, many of my people who were there when sharing this dream, they are still here. They are also here in this very Congress, and Balki is here. Supercomputing power, and thanks to the Moore's law, which was challenged again and again, supercomputing power has increased by a factor of 1,000 every decade. So remember 87, 88, 98, and then we talked about 2008, where we will have going from giga to tera to peta to then by 2018, we are before us. People imagine that having created the peta scale computers, we will be able to really make also the exascale. But then many challenges came in. I think the industry is coming together again. we have not, I think I must admit that we have not been able to work with industry. I think Mr. Narayan Murthy is here. The government has not been able to work. Government is national labs. Because our framework of democracy and all that thing, the RTIs and many, many things in which we are, the whole thing you have to find or navigate through, unlike China or things like that. Navigating that and our own mindsets. These are also, we are prisoners of our own mindsets. That we kept on talking the private, public, academics, research, and not been able to work on national missions together, working openly, and everything like that kind of thing. And we have to learn that. Then Mr. Saraswat brought to me an issue that we have to learn the governance of R&D. I think if you have to make innovations, is the governance of R&D. We have to understand that. In the same mindsets, it is going to be more and more challenging, very challenging to take care of these things like that. Anyone can, I think, sabotage anything like that, whatever the initiative that you may take. And we can, if we together, I think, can come together. This is an opportunity. I'm not saying that we are prepared and we are ready with the package, etc. No, we will have to create that kind of thing. This is an attempt that and if it's not done, we'll accomplish little. That's why it's important. In academics, research institutions, industry, and the government, we'll have to learn it if you have not learned it so far. To work together to accomplish this kind of grand missions. Today we stand on the challenge of this one. One thing is that how to build. The greatest challenge has come. We have done great in software industry, no doubt. But we are also thinking in front of us that now our import bills of the hardware will be twice or thrice than what we export. There are predictions of NASCOM and other things that, wow, we must do something about it. And this is again a mindset. I'm telling you that we cannot do hardware. This is our own mindset, imagination that because of this one. And I often say that we could progress in software industry because we could not see it. The government could not see it. Hardware industry, no. There will be all kind of things, regimes and inspections and all those kind of things. And of course, our customs clearances and all those kind of things, we couldn't have made it. We have to change. We have to change that. We have done in the auto industry, certain ways, definitely, manufacturing. So I think one of the case we are making today is that kind of thing. Let's take that challenge. Whatever may be the difficulties, let's take that hardware, when we are manufacturing, we are contract manufacturing, the hardware we are doing for the world, we can make it here. It has not to be looked at a commercial opportunity in that sense. It is a commercial opportunity which is coming next before us. We will have to take it as a really a venture or adventure for hardware industry to really make those things. And that's why I think, I remember Professor Saraswati is here. We struggled from 12 micron to 9 micron to 3 micron, and now there is some similar complex, and we have gone to the nanometers. We are struggling to go into 7 nanometers to 5 nanometers where the limits of physics will be reached. And we are doing that kind of thing. Let's talk together. I know it's competitive bidding. It's not a vendor relationship. It will not, just like that, just work a more enlightened way, both from R&D perspective and industry perspective and research perspectives and the government perspectives. We have to do that kind of thing. Today we are discussing the cutting edge of exascale. What we talked exascale, this one, and as Balki said, that it's not just a buzzword, but you put something like reaching to the star, reaching to the moon, and it suddenly what was seen to be now, it cannot be, which cannot be done, which was thought that because power constraints and power things, all the kind of things, and the number of cores which will be required, number of processors and the kind of things which are required, which will be so challenging that we will not be able to realize. Suddenly, it looks possible. And people are saying, and there are roadmaps. And India should have a roadmap. India will have a roadmap. Will we require computing? I always said will require, are there the problems to be solved on exascale? Are there the problems to be solved on exascale? I think one great law which we have learned, give any computing power, the nature can challenge the intelligence within it, even to understand even cloud, to understand anything, even a single human cell, this kind of thing, it can challenge any kind of computing power you can imagine. And that is the power of science itself, how much intelligence is embedded in every particle of this universe. So that will be required, no question of that kind of thing. And one of the greatest challenge of exascale will be, I think from the software perspective, will be to solve problems, to create algorithms, to create scalability, and challenging our mathematicians and scientists and algorithm people, this one kind of thing, to really scale application which we can go to that kind of that scalability. And India, this is an opportunity. Not only in just high performance computing, in the wider sense, this will be opportunity in high performance computing, this is opportunity in big data, this will be opportunity in the, all kind of data analytics, and now the new field that is, I think, which is re-emerged is artificial intelligence and all that kind of thing, deep learning. These are opportunities, and graphics, animations, all that kind of things. This is a challenge at every level. I see this is a tipping point that if we can do that, as the software industry is looking for a new breakthrough like Y2K, I think that is the thing. Can we, this topic, but no one in the world has really this ability, and perhaps India, along with working with the great world scientists and many people across the thing, scientists, I feel this exascale should be a world project. It will not be restricted to one nation. And we have done many projects like that in the space, in like LSC, in particle physics, in many things. We have done international projects. I feel this is a project, not one nation should claim that I have done it first, because then, yeah, if you have done it first, you will fail, definitely. Because it will be obsolete next year, in that kind of thing, that's the thing. So I make a case for international collaboration across researchers, across academics, this one. Because a great, I think this can be taken as a case study, how it was done, industry, academia, research, collaboration, including policy, because the policy architects are here, and we come out with a policy, and that we can work together. I see a great opportunity. I'm really amazed to see that I am able to stand before you after 30 years. I should have been totally irrelevant. I should have been thrown out of the window. But I think it's a great thing. I feel India should come because of the demonstrates, not to anyone else, but work with the world and go to the next frontiers of human quest. Thank you very much for inviting me. And